but I just never used it really as a dedicated strategy. I do incorporate some of the things, but Richard Wyckoff had a concept called a feather's touch, quote unquote, meaning that at times markets go to a level, whether it's a support level or a resistance level, where it's so critical that the weight of one feather would make that market either plunge from that support or just rocket from a resistance level. Um, yeah, and this is a general comment, so don't think of this as like some sort of Ten Commandments kind of thing, but I do believe that it is a fair generalized comment, and it's this. If you are new to trading, or if you've been trading for at least, let's say, a year or two, even, and are finding it difficult to consistently make money, where you're repeating the same mistakes over and over, if you're in that category, I would suggest not looking for trading strategy or analytical tools of the market. Rather, I would suggest that you look at the psychology and the mental game and attempt to rectify those. This is not some psychobabble bullshit. There are only a few people that are genetically wired to not deal with the mental game. They're just robots from birth. I've met one guy like somehow he was able to just integrate trading and recognize that it's and I think some of you have heard me talk about it, but a lot of professional poker players at high levels who have done well are well suited trading. A lot of pro athletes at the highest levels are well suited for trading because there's a certain similarity in the mental game of how one looks at the business of trading. And it's a big area. So, because even if you have the holy grail and your mind is still behaving like a amateur trader, even if I gave you the strategies that worked for me or somebody else, you won't be able to execute it, right? And what I mean is this, right? We're trading what, 63.93 half. Let's say we're trading 64 even, right? And I tell you, okay, the setup calls for a trigger and you enter right here. And your stop loss is 385 and your take profit is for whatever, four half, right? So this thing goes against you. You get in at four even, it's trading now 93 half. Trades 93, 94, 92, 98, 95. Mel comes in, sells 10 million at the market. It goes down to 388 or whatnot, right? Your stop is 83, right? At some point, you are not really suited mentally. A lot of people will say, you know what, fuck it. Why am I going to wait 2 points? This is obviously going down. And then you'll get out. You override the strategy. And sure enough, it goes down 1 point right before the stop. And then, 100 million, 80-point green candle shows up. And it goes right to the target price that you would have gotten out. Now, the worst thing kicks in, which is, fuck, I knew it. I did it again. Why did I get out? Why? Because when it's printing 82, I'm sorry, 85, 86, right? Your brain is telling you get the fuck out because it's too painful, right? Anyway, I digress. A lot of what I'm talking about right now deals with the mental game. And unless you are one of those genetically bred kind of guys to be a robot from day one and recognize that this is a business and there are rules of this business, it's going to be very tough. Yeah. Yeah, you're going up against some of the smartest people on the planet when it comes to trading. You guys have IQs of, triple digits plus. Some of them are algo traders, some of them are discretionary, some of them have been trading for longer than I have, and so on, right? What makes
Yeah,
you think you're going to take money from them,
I think triple digits is a default. That 100.
right? Yeah, I don't know, man. I know my IQ is probably on my left hand. Uh, but with that said, you must be a student of the market. You can't just come in here and expect just making money right from day one without knowing anything. You can't come in here, read a couple of books on technical analysis and how to read an RSI or MFI or MACD or whatever Ichimoku cloud or whatever the fuck it is and say, oh yeah, here's a cup and handle, here's an inverted head and shoulder. The worst thing that'll happen is that you'll make money off of that and then you'll think that's the holy grail. You must be a student of the markets in all aspects, fundamentals, technicals, and I'm not talking about per se indicator, but you should at least know how to read a chart, right? And then, of course, the third thing, which is market sentiment, right? If there was one thing that I would tell you guys how I look at a larger picture of any market, it's those three things. I would go hell's balls to the walls type of a position size when all those three things line up, meaning fund on a bull side, right? Fundamentals look good, the technicals look good, and the market is behaving like it wants to go up, not like what it is now, right? Been a broken record lately, but the market, Bitcoin, cannot rally on good news. It's a sign that the market is very weak. But if I ever get a situation where fundamentals look good, and the technicals look good, and the market sentiment and behavior and the tape is acting right, I pull out the plugs and just, if I had an option back in the day, yeah, I guess I would have found BitMEX early and maybe just tried 100x on something. In any event, um, be a student. You obviously have to learn. Wherever you are weak at, those are the areas that I would work on first. Where you're strong, um, for whatever reason, you know, you don't need to work on your strengths as much as your weaknesses, right? That'll bring up the scale in your favor much quicker. Your return on your time invested in studying and being a student of the markets will be much greater. So his ridiculous solution was this. When you're tilted, right, your brain, your neurons, all your nervous system, the way that your brain is digesting information from the outside world gets totally fucked up, which is why you're tilted. And there's no other way to correct that other than to correct that. And normally, when you are a semi intelligent person, right, you kind of like look at all of these factors and say, all right, look, I'm tilted. So I should not, right? This is not helping me. And in a rational way, talk yourself out of that mental state. Right? And yet, it doesn't happen for whatever reason. You get put in front of the screen again, and you're back to that Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde shit. All of a sudden, you're a monster again, and you're trading like a lunatic, right? So what he said was, no matter how ridiculous it may sound, right, you have to change it. So what he said was, walk away from the desk, go outside, away from the desk, away from the screens, right? And you guys are gonna laugh, you guys are gonna smirk, and some of you guys might actually leave this voice session. So this is only for those of you who might have hit rock bottom or near it, right? He said to force a smile on your face. I was like, what? He said, yeah, you know how you smile for a picture? He said to force a smile. He said to think of something that made you really laugh in your, personal history, whatever it may be, your wedding, your divorce, first kiss, or whatever it is that made you really laugh. And what he was suggesting, or what he was saying, is that from a biochemical point of view, when you're tilted, it's almost like you got poison in your body, in your blood, right? And when you smile, you release endorphins, which offsets all that negativity that's running through your veins. And I was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? I want to make money, and you're telling me to force a smile. And what he kept on telling me was that that's fine, don't do it. What's your alternative? Right? And when he said that, I said, fuck it. Meaning, what's the alternative? Alternative is go back to, not being the most capable trader that you can be, reaching your potential. Because obviously, you're not doing something right. So what does it hurt if you do something stupid as it may, if it helps trading? That's my operative word here, which is why I say to people, if you have a strategy, no matter how crazy it is, as long as it's consistently profitable, I'm all for it. So that's the way I looked at it. Initially, I was like, the fuck out of my face. What are you talking about? Eventually, he convinced me, right? So at any given time, I don't do it now, but um,
Wait, so you don't just walk out and smile?
well, no, eventually what happens is that you begin to recognize what it is that you are doing, and you're better able to control it before it becomes an issue. So let's say it's everyone has a problem with something, right? But what makes an endeavor become easier, and how do you get better at something? Repetition, right?
Mm.
You got to keep doing it, right? If you're working out, you got to go to the gym, right?
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
want to learn, you know, I don't know, quantum physics, you got to hit the books, right? You got to hit the lab. Right? If you want to be a doctor, you got to get in front of bodies, right? But after a while, the uncomfortableness of that endeavor becomes second nature, right? After 30 years of being in the emergency room and trauma, right? When somebody comes in with a broken leg, it's not like you're a 24-year-old intern at some university hospital, right? You're an experienced, seasoned trauma doctor that's seen legs blown off, arms blown off, possibly head split in two, and yet you're able to look at it from a professional manner and deal with it, right? Even if you lose the patient, if you're a doctor. My point being that as you start doing these things that rectify those issues that we all have, it becomes easier to execute as a trader because in the end, what happens? You make more money. So the associative value of a human brain, right? Scenario one, I don't put it, and I'm not suggesting this smile shit works for everybody because Julie asked me. I'm just trying to point out how difficult it is to address each and every type of an issue. But I am saying that um, a lot of these things can be addressed, but they're not what we would call generally accepted solutions because these are not usual problems. We don't have to deal with a lot of the problems we deal with when it comes to trading, right? In any case, it becomes easier because you see your bottom line. You see your blotter at the end of the day, right? You implement these type of, you know, offsetting behaviors, and you're like, holy shit. One day you realize, like, yeah, I'm not tilted anymore. I just one day, right? Years later, even you sit back and you're like, what happened? Oh, I did that crazy smiling thing. What happens now when how come I don't get tilted now? Well, because my attitude and beliefs have changed about losses. If my attitude, if my, evil shit in me, and if my biggest problem was I can't cut losses, right? Not being able to cut losses is an indication that somebody doesn't like failure. It's a general concept, but it does apply a lot of times. And this goes towards why trading is so counterintuitive, right? People have said, I forget where I read this, right? Um, most, if not all, of the factors that made you a success in life are the exact factors and traits that'll cause your failure in trading. Meaning that, let's say you run a business, right? Let's say you open up a coffee shop. Well, what's the goal of any business? To make money, right? What do you always want to prevent as a business? To lose money, right? Fine. You open it, you become Starbucks, you're a billionaire, millionaire, doesn't matter, right? Come into the trading desk. What's this about? Trading? Yeah, this is not about always making money. At times you're going to lose money. That's a part of the business. What? how do I do a business? Why am I in business to lose money? Kind of getting into some really deep shit here, but it's important. That's one of the biggest factors.
Yeah,
In any case, um, yeah, just to wrap up the, how do we address these evils? I guess, Julie, what I was trying to wrap up by saying is that once you tackle a particular weakness in your game, the more you repeat and more repetitions you have in combating that particular weakness, the easier it will be to deal with that particular weakness to a point where eventually the goal is that it will no longer be a weakness. I make a lot of analogies to professional level sports, and let's just say baseball. Uh, I know we're not a Western based Discord channel, but it
you
doesn't
said
matter.
sports. How's a baseball a sport, man? Come on.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I should talk about football or soccer. Really doesn't matter, right? Um, in any particular sport, right? You make adjustments and improve your game all the time, right? In the beginning, though, let's take golf. Okay, it seems that a lot of people know golf at least, right? And somebody like anyone on the PGA Tour. I mean, that is a game of like literally millimeters. People tell me on how you hold your club, how you follow through, and so on, right? But I hear people always saying, "Yeah, I'm a slicer, I'm a hooker. I just can't get it, right?" Because obviously there's a mistake in their swing, technically. But if you make a conscious effort to correct that, and you make thousands of swings, eventually it comes natural, right? Same thing with trading. Once you recognize that weakness and tackle it, because you do have to tackle it, eventually it gets easier because your mind makes an associative connection. If I keep doing my fucked up weakness thing, then I keep losing money or I'm not trading at my peak potential. If I make an adjustment as uncomfortable as it may be in the beginning, if I consciously make that adjustment, right, I end up making more money or I stop losing money. So let's say your weakness is over trading, revenge trading, tilted trading, right? And just hypothetically, you use this ridiculous walk off the desk, get away, go outside, preferably, get some fresh air, force a smile on your face that you're actually laughing. And then you go back to the desk after like 5, 10 minutes after you take a break, right? What's going to happen? Well, what happened for me was the following. Let's say it's near the end of the day. One of my weaknesses was that I'll still try to find a trade in the last 10 minutes of the day to make back the money. Well, what happened is that I would go back to my desk, see it with a clear head, right? Not tilted now. I look at it and I'm like, I see a lot of red. Are we going back down?